What's going on, everyone? Evan from BattleHawk Armory here today, and with me I have a couple guests. Adam, I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name's Adam. I'm the owner of BattleHawk Armory, and I am with
David Rybacki, and I'm the owner of VKTR Industries.
All right, so Vector Industries. Why don't you just go ahead and tell us right off the bat, what is Vector Industries? What do you guys do?
So we are a complete weapons platform manufacturer. We offer either complete upper assemblies, where you get a buffer and a spring with it to complete your system, or our total VK1 complete weapons package.
Vector Rifles, VK1. What is it all about? What kind of design parameters were you kind of thinking about? What makes your product different than every other AR-15 that I see out there?
So we wanted to keep like the form, fit, and function of a normal legacy TDP rifle while bringing new technology to the platform. So short stroke piston, self-regulating, non-adjustable. So what we mean by that is suppressor on, suppressor off, 55 grain, 79 grain, everything in between, all the combinations. The gun dumps gas mid-stroke after function out of the piston. And so with the short stroke piston system, we have 6 holes in the op rod, and we use a one-piece op rod system. So the first 3 holes allow the gun to function, and then the next 3 open in line, and the 6 total holes are open then, and they just dump gas. One of the key components of the op rod system and all that, too, is our bolt carrier group. And with our bolt carrier group, we have our patented long advanced cam path, which gives you a true 22.5 degree rotation, which allows you to dwell for 2 degrees longer than a standard TDP rifle. So the bolt carrier group stays locked for 2 degrees longer than a standard TDP rifle, allowing you to dump 15 to 20,000 PSI out of the system. So it gives you a really flat shooting gun with very minimal recoil.
So basically, suppressors have become extremely popular. If you're not shooting suppressed, you really need to. And the way that Form 4s have been going lately, everybody's getting suppressors back super quick. It's really kind of the way of the future.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's amazing.
3 days, 4 days, 48 hours. It's not 9 months of prison anymore.
Absolutely. And conventionally with AR-15s, suppressors are awesome, but they bring with them certain sets of problems, which the design that you guys have brought out addresses several of those problems right out of the gate with no tuning or adjusting, just
Correct.
like you mentioned, with that gas piston system that is self-regulating. You don't have to worry about any of the extra back pressure. You don't have to worry about any of the timing issues that you get with a normal AR-15. Is that correct?
Correct. So you no longer have to remember what suppressor setting you're on. You can't. There are none. It's self-regulating, right? Mm-hmm. So suppressor on, suppressor off. It doesn't matter for the gun. It dumps the gas after. Like heavy back pressure cans, it does good with. Flow-through cans, it does amazing with. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it'll dump the pressure, but you can overpower that with very heavy back pressure cans, like old DI systems. But the nice thing we like is like on a 10.5-inch SBR like this, with a Hux Flow can on it, shooting left-handed, 0 gas in your face. So the flow-through cans have, they're slightly louder than a heavy back pressure can or this or that. You give and take, right? I always wear ear protection anyways, so I don't mind that little bit of decibel increase versus 0 gas in my face.
Right, absolutely. And not just gas, also heat, right? So
Yeah.
suppressors build heat back in the operating system, a pretty high amount. Those gas tubes get hot, they're pushing those hot gases back into the receiver set. And since we don't actually recycle any of that gas in the Vector VK1, it's going to operate a lot cooler as well.
Correct. Yeah, we cool a lot quicker than a normal DI gun because, again, everything comes out right here. Once the bolt carrier group opens, it opens at such a lower operating pressure that you're not getting all of that excess gas and that excess dirt and garbage into the upper receiver.
Awesome.
So there's 8 different patents in this gun.
Yep.
Can you kind of break down what those are?
Yeah, of course. So we have our combat match barrel. We put another pin for an extension pin in the barrel. So our gas block slides over that pin, so your gas block can't do this. It self-aligns that way. And then also in our gas block, we have what we call like a miniaturized pivot pin system that allows you to pull that pin out and it catches on a detent, and then you can pull the whole gas block off. So by doing that, it allows you to have a one-piece op rod instead of like a three-piece op rod, where the gas block is removable but still pinned for easy cleaning and that kind of stuff. So that's 2 of the patents there. The 6 holes is a patent. The handguard and the monolithic look with the 15 slots and the three ways that the handguard adapts to the system, that's a patent. The bolt carrier group, the cam path, is a single patent. And then our heavy duty buffer retainer is patented. And then the ambidextrous controls. So we offer a truly fully ambidextrous gun. So you can lock back and release the bolt carrier group from the right-hand side. And then on the left-hand side, we have our mag catch and a normal bolt catch and everything like that. So you can teach a lefty right-hand controls now because it's very intuitive in how it all works.
I was never the biggest fan about having an ambi-lower being right-handed, but once you realize you can maintain your grip and operate everything with your right hand, it's truly advantageous.
Yeah, and with our lever here, with our ambidextrous lever here for catching and releasing on the right-hand side for the bolt carrier group, you don't have to give up your grip or your sight picture now to do mag changes and everything else. We think it's the most, we're biased, obviously. We think it's the most intuitive ambidextrous lower receiver on the market.
We have one of your bolt carrier groups right here. Why don't you just kind of run us through some of the features of your bolt carrier group that make it a little bit more unique?
Yep. So on the bolt carrier group, we have our back end that's a little fatter here for our anti-tilt.
Absolutely.
Because one of the arguments with piston systems striking the face here is the bolt carrier group tilting.
Carrier tilt. Yeah.
Yep. So with our slightly smaller sized upper receiver and our slightly larger back end here, the bolt carrier group rides very straight and true. There's no tilt. Then we have our divot or dimple on the front here that the bolt carrier, that the op rod hits for the bolt carrier group. And then we'll get a good picture of it later. But on our cam pin, we have our patented arrow. So the arrow pointing in here allows it to wear properly. So every time you take your cam pin out to clean your bolt carrier group, you know which way to put it back in. So you're always riding that groove and you're not fighting the system every time. So for accuracy in the gun, we want consistency. And consistent lockup and release is most important to us. So every time the cam pin goes back in and the bolt carrier group locks and unlocks, it's consistent. It's the same way every time.
Awesome.
Also for the bolt carrier group, we use a thin, dense chrome. So we don't use like military hard chrome. We use a 2/10 coated thin, dense chrome, which won't peel, flake, and it's very easy to clean.
So with those ambidextrous controls, you guys kind of have the unique design on those ambidextrous controls, correct?
Yeah.
So those are something, you guys are now making your own safeties as well as magazine release buttons and things like that. So you have a really clean aesthetic throughout the whole design.
So our safety's on all the guns shipping now. We do our own mag catch button. We do our own ambi mag release. Everything for the lower receiver we kind of control in-house now.
Awesome. Yeah, it definitely looks really good. And it's nice that aesthetic as far as like how the actual controls are shaped and how they function is true on both sides. Everything looks the same, everything functions the same. So that's really cool. Moving up front, what about the barrels? What are our options as far as barrels? How are those made and what kind of choices do we have?
So we buy blanks from Sandhammer Forging, and then we turn profile and chamber in-house for ourselves, but it's to our design. So we have our straight fluting in our combat match barrels, and the straight fluting is really, really important to us. So the straight fluting allows rigidity with weight loss, and then in between the flutes, we sandblast and shot peen. So we want 1,000, little cups. We want surface area. It's a heat sink. We want it to dump heat as fast as possible, right? Especially as 10.5-inch SBRs or machine guns or, full auto kind of stuff. It's going to heat up. So that's why we have the handguard. It's very airy. It's very open. It allows flow through to make sure that heat sink of a barrel can really dump stuff out. And then one of the weakest points usually on a barrel is the shoulder in between barrel and gas block. It's a pivot point. So we have a really beefed up shoulder to hold our pin and to allow that gas block seal and everything else there. From the factory, our 10.5-inch upper comes with just an A2 flash hider. And then our 13.7 pin and weld options, we have one, the Hux extra long, or we do the Sons of Liberty Knox.
For chemo.
For chemo.
Gotcha.
So for the chemo guys, shoot the Sons of Liberty Knox at 13.7, which makes it a 16.1 legal rifle. And then the Hux makes it a 16.1 legal rifle too. And then obviously our 16-inch just comes with an A2 flash hider. And what's cool about the A2 flash hider is it's a normal mil-spec item. They're plentifully available. And with the recoil and impulse of the gun by itself, it doesn't need a crazy muzzle brake.
So you can get a cold hammer forged for a barrel from Victor. You can get it in a 10.5 inch.
Yep.
You can get it 13.7 pin and weld, ready to accept whatever suppressor you as the end user want to use. Or you can just get a 16-inch rifle and then reconfigure it to whatever your mission needs are.
Yep.
So tons of options right there, and all using that same high-quality cold hammer forged
Yep, and then
barrel.
we offer a 13.7 non-pin and welded, just complete upper. If you want to put some other muzzle brake on it that we don't offer pin and weld from the factory, that makes it a legal 16.1 gun.
So tons of options there to kind of fit whatever your own individual, design parameters, end use parameters are.
Yep.
So that's super awesome right there. What about the ignition system? What are you guys using for triggers in these rifles?
So their heavy duty gunner series from Hyperfire is what we're using for stock from the factory. We truly agree with all the opinions on triggers. Everybody's right. Whichever trigger you like and whatever trigger you want, we agree that's the one you should put in it.
That being said, if you are the type that you don't like to mess with the trigger, this is a really good trigger right out of the box.
4.5 pounds.
4.5 pounds, relatively clean break. It's definitely a usable trigger.
Great reset.
Yeah, I've shot it pretty darn quick, as you'll see in some of the footage, just with the stock trigger. So definitely something that you could upgrade to whatever your personal preference is, should you choose. But also, if you're just the guy who likes to buy it and shoot it, you've got them covered with that Hyperfire trigger right out of the box.
Yeah.
What other calibers are you offering right now?
So right now our great comment is we do one thing really, really well, not 12 things poorly. So we offer 5.56. There is some other calibers that are in development that we're working on, but we won't discuss them until they come out.
And then furniture, how are you kind of trimming all these rifles out?
So Magpul, K2 grips on everything, and then I think it's just the SL.
Yeah, just the regular SL. I mean, that being said, Magpul furniture is really what most people are using anyways. I would say that the K2 and the SL are probably the two most popular as far as pistol grips and stocks anyways. So once again, an option that you could change out if you have your own preferences.
Yep.
But again, plug and play right here. You've got them covered with some really good choices right out of the box, ready to roll.
So the color options that are also available on it are Sniper Gray, Armor Black, and Magpul FDE, and that's all factory Cerakote, and there's no upcharge for different colors or that kind of stuff.
So once again, you as the end user get to select what color you like, what aesthetic you like, at no additional cost. It comes right out of the factory. No rattle can needed on a Vector VK1. So that's a pretty cool feature. So one of the things that I can tell you is that I'm pretty notorious for breaking anything and everything. Part of it is just that I shoot a lot. If you use anything enough, it will break. So I have seen a lot of the failures and the shortcomings of the AR-15 design. Right off the bat, some of the things that I've experienced this year, in fact, some of these things this week, I've seen handguards walking off, all right? You already have thought that through. You've got a handguard that interfaces with a crossbolt through the actual barrel nut. So handguard's guaranteed not to walk off there. All right, when you install suppressors, you're gonna build heat at a higher rate. You're gonna increase the bolt velocity. Parts tend to break. I've broken name brand, really expensive bolts directly in half. This is a self-regulating gas system that is not gonna dump any of that extra heat or pressure back into the system. So you're gonna have the same bolt velocity no matter what ammunition, no matter what suppressor you install, without any tuning right out of the box. So already right there, that's already been thought through. Carrier tilt, absolutely a real thing. You can more feel it, kind of when you're hand cycling things, but again, that's been thought through with this enlarged rear portion of the actual bolt carrier itself. Cam pins wear receivers, they tend to break all the time. Once again, there's a really unique design of this that's proprietary to a Victor VK1 rifle to enhance how smooth the system operates and take some of that excessive wear out of the operating system. Beyond that, cleaning is always a pain. You're chrome lined, so you've got your own special chrome line finish on there that's going to be super easy to clean up, whether you're shooting suppressed or not. Again, not going to get any dirtier, but when you do go to clean it, super easy to clean. Another super common failure point on AR-15s is the actual buffer retaining pin. I can promise you right now, if you have not broken a buffer retaining pin yet, you absolutely will. I've probably broken no fewer than a dozen of them in the
Yep.
time that I've been shooting. And once again, that is a part that has a small part that has been thought through and redesigned in this rifle to enhance the longevity of this rifle and your enjoyment of it, because you're not going to be breaking parts like that at the range that are going to cause serious issues.
No, and if you get a heavy duty buffer retainer, they don't break. But if you get a buffer retainer broken on yours, it's ending up in your trigger.
Absolutely. It's ending up directly in your trigger. There's only one place for it to go, and you're going to get the worst type of malfunction that you can imagine, because you're going to get click with no bang, and you can't figure out what's going on until you go to take the firearm apart. And next thing you know, you've got a buffer flying 20 feet in the air and a spring hitting you in the face, and parts are flying every which
And then
way.
you got to pull your trigger out.
Exactly. And you've got bits and pieces of a buffer retaining pin directly in front of your hammer and down in that trigger group. So that is a nightmare when it happens, and I say when because it will if you're not using something like what is in this Vector VK1 rifle. So all of these things have been extremely well thought through. They've been over-engineered. They've been designed specifically to work together, to work in this Vector VK1 rifle as a system. So while it may look like any other AR-15 on the shelf, it absolutely positively is not. It is something totally different, totally unique that you guys are producing. And if all of this sounds super awesome, but you don't want to go out and get a brand new rifle, if you don't want to go through the process of filling out the 4473, going to the gun shop, and you just want to order something direct to your door that you can just plug and play and still have this same well thought out design, this same self-regulating gas operation piston system you guys are producing, and they are available now as a single standalone unit, a complete upper receiver, which not only is the upper receiver with the cold hammer forged barrel of your preference, the muzzle device of your preference, the color of your preference, but you also get the Vector VK1 complete bolt carrier and a buffer and spring, so that this system works entirely as designed, straight out of the box on any lower that you have now, that you already run, that you already love.
Yeah, we believe you have to complete the system, and the buffer and the spring really are the core of an upper receiver system.
Absolutely. So no matter which way you want it, whether you want the complete unit, whether you want to build your own at home, Vector VK1 has got you covered.
And the complete ambi-lower, left-handed, right-handed, you're good to go. Self-regulating gas system is truly the coolest feature, I think.
All right, so like we always say, everyone, talking about things is great and all, but we are actually going to get these guns out to the range. We're going to run them through their paces. We're going to see what they're all about. We're going to have a good time, and we are going to bring you along with us. So make sure you stay tuned for some range footage. All right, what's going on, everyone? So we are out here at the range today. I have Adam and I have Dave from VKTR Industries, and we are out here with a ton of rifles that we're going to put through their paces and kind of see what they're all about. So why don't you walk us through this first one here, Dave, as far as what we're going to get started with here.
So this is our 13.7 Sons of Liberty Gunworks pin and weld for the nocks on the front. And then we have our VK1 piston system and our fully ambidextrous lower receiver.
Let's go shoot.
Cool. All right, so there's 6 rounds unsuppressed. We are clear, guns on safe, and with no additional adjustment, you can go ahead and install your favorite suppressor. What we have here is a rugged Surge X. So this is a conventional steel suppressor that's relatively high back pressure, and go to suppressed without changing any of the settings at all. So super cool feature on these Vector rifles. right, so we are all wrapped up. We just ran these 4 rifles through what, about 1,000 rounds of ammo today? Yeah, absolutely. We were running them super hard. We have suppressors on most of these firearms. Kind of running through everything what we had out here to play with today. We had a Victor VK1. This is a 16-inch, correct? Yep. Huxworks Flow 556K, one of everybody's favorite suppressors right now. 13.7 pin and weld, 10.5 inch right here. So the extra short boy. This one's actually a machine gun, so you'll see some pretty cool footage with that one. Same Huxworks Flow up front. This one, however, 13.7 pin and weld with the Sons of Liberty Gunworks. So we threw our own Rugged Surge X on there, and then this is our personal 13.7 pin and weld that we were also running the Surge X on as well. So lots of really cool options. I think everybody's personal favorite is going to be the full auto right here. Everybody loves a machine gun. But it was really cool having all these options out here. The 16-inch, since it's just a little bit heavier, definitely a really soft recoil impulse. But I also noticed that the SBR full auto right here had a really great recoil impulse. I was able to shoot some really fast splits just on semi-auto. I love the ambidextrous controls. These are definitely really well thought out rifles. Adam, what were kind of some of your impressions?
First thing, I really like shooting the 16-inch, probably my favorite, probably a little bit more substance to it, so just super soft recoil impulse. And then I've shot in many machine guns, but that one, I mean, usually you're leaning into it pretty heavily. You're pretty much shooting like you're shooting a normal AR. You're not really leaning into it. It's super soft shooting. 13.7s were a lot of fun too, but very soft shooting rifles. I don't think we had any issues on the range.
No, none at all.
Everything ran well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the nice thing too here is whether you like a full 16-inch profile, just a standard rifle to kind of reconfigure however you like it, whether you want to go through the hoops and get an SBR, or if you just want something a little bit shorter and lighter to be able to host a suppressor, the 13.7 factory pin and weld is a great option because it keeps the length down and gives you some room to throw the suppressor up front without the rifle becoming super heavy and long like a 16-inch with the suppressor on it. So I think the 13.7s are going to be really popular, and the ability to get them either with the pin and weld Hux XL muzzle device or the Sons of Liberty Gunworks. You have tons of options for suppressors. Yep. So you're ready to go right out of the box with those. Just kind of, you know, last thoughts for me was handguard is really well thought out. It's a super slim handguard. It's got anti-rotation tabs, so you're guaranteed not to rotate. And the cross bolt for the handguard that actually retains it goes through the barrel nut itself. So again, handguard is guaranteed not to walk off. The controls are great. They're Radian Raptor charging handle, ambidextrous safety, ambidextrous bolt lock and release, ambidextrous magazine release, good hyperfire trigger right out of the box. Yep. I mean, basically, these are plug-and-play rifles that we were able to just take out of the box, throw suppressors on, run through a ton of rounds, and have a lot of fun with.
Yeah, that's the point.
Since we're going to be shooting these a lot more, what kind of warranty do you guys have?
Lifetime unlimited.
Lifetime, no questions asked?
Shoot the barrel out, we'll replace it. Don't worry about it.
Cool.
Shoot the cold hammer forged barrel out, and you'll replace it.
Yep.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for being out here, Dave.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Hey, it was a great time. Thank you so much.
No, we look forward to the next time.
Yeah, awesome. If you guys like this content, if you have any suggestions of what you would want to see, any questions about anything that we've covered today, go ahead and leave them in the comment. Make sure you follow the page. Make sure you get signed up for some of these giveaways that we're giving out, and we'll be back with more of this awesome content soon.